I agreed to a second date just so he would let me out of the car. I said yes because the silence in my apartment had started to sound like screaming. That's the only reason. I was 18, a few months into living on my own, and the loneliness was a physical weight. My friend, the one I actually wanted to see, had texted that he was sinking into one of his bad spells and needed space. So when Casimir's name popped up on my phone for the fourth time, asking if I was free, I just typed yes before I could think too much about it. He'd flaked on me 3 times before, but the 4 walls of my room were closing in. When a beat-up, dark blue sedan rolled up to my building, my stomach sank. The man who got out was a warped version of his pictures. The photos on his profile were all carefully angled, making him look brooding and mysterious. In person, his eyes were too close together and his smile didn't reach them. It was a thin, tight line, like he was practicing in a mirror and hadn't quite gotten it right. I should have turned around right then, made an excuse, said my cat was on fire. But I didn't. I got in the car. It smelled like stale cigarette smoke and cheap air freshener. So, he said, turning the key. The engine sputtered to life. No plan. What's the move? My brain was a blank slate of panic. I felt like prey. I don't know. We could, go downtown, get something to eat? Might as well, he grunted. The first 10 minutes were just him talking about his car. The engine, the transmission, the time he almost outran a cop. I nodded along, my gaze fixed on the cracked dashboard, a long spiderweb of plastic frozen under the grimy glass. He didn't ask a single thing about me, not one. He pulled into a nearly empty lot for a 24-hour diner called the Starlight. Inside, the red vinyl booths were torn and patched with silver duct tape. We slid into a booth by the window. A tired-looking waitress came over, and he just stared at her, not speaking, until she nervously asked for our order. I got a coffee. He ordered water. Then he just watched me. I tried to fill the quiet, talking about my classes, the city, anything. He'd just nod, his eyes scanning my face like he was looking for a weakness. After my coffee came, he launched into this monologue about his lifestyle, how he was impulsive, dangerous, how he lived on the edge. He said it with this puffed-up pride, like he was a character in a movie and I was supposed to be impressed. I just wanted to shrink into the cracked vinyl and disappear. When we got back in the car, things got worse. He started driving fast. Too fast. He'd swerve into the other lane, laughing as the horn of an oncoming car blared. Almost got us, he'd say, a wide, empty grin on his face. At one point, on a long, dark stretch of road, he took both hands off the wheel and put them on top of his head, steering with his knees. The car drifted toward the shoulder. I didn't say anything. I just stared at my phone, my thumb scrolling endlessly through nothing, pretending I didn't notice. What do you even say to that? If I yelled at him, would he get angry? Would he just do it more? I felt a cold knot of dread tighten in my gut. He was testing me. Shit, he said, pulling a sharp turn. We were suddenly on a winding road leading up a hill overlooking the city. He parked at a scenic lookout, the kind of place kids go to make out. But it was late, and we were the only car there. The spot was overgrown with weeds, and the wooden guardrail was splintering. He killed the engine. The silence was heavier here. My dad used to bring me here, he said, his voice suddenly low, before he left. He told me if you look hard enough, you can see all the mistakes people are making down there. He stared out at the city lights. I didn't know what to say. I just mumbled something like, "Oh, wow." I could feel him looking at me, feel the weight of his expectation in the dark. He wanted something. I kept my eyes on my phone, my screen, a tiny, safe blue light in the oppressive blackness of his car. I started talking about how late it was, how my roommate would be worried. I don't even have a roommate. He finally started the car, but he didn't head back toward my apartment. He started weaving through dark, residential streets, tree-lined, quiet, the kind of place where everyone is asleep behind their locked doors. I like that one, he'd say, pointing to a dark house with a big porch. Could see myself there, no neighbors too close. He kept doing it, pointing out houses, talking about how secluded they were, how easy it would be to just exist there, unseen. I hugged my purse to my chest, my knuckles white. We were finally back on the main road, maybe 5 minutes from my place. I could almost taste the relief. Then he saw it. A synagogue, lit up by a soft spotlight on the corner. He slowed the car. "Look at that," he said. The tone was wrong. It was sharp, laced with something ugly. He pulled into the empty parking lot of a closed office building across the street and parked in the darkest corner, facing the temple. He took off his seatbelt and pushed his seat all the way back. Finally, I thought, he gets it. He's tired of me. But that wasn't it. He turned to me, his body angled toward mine. He gave me that look, the one guys give when they think a kiss is about to happen. I immediately grabbed my vape and started messing with it, focusing on the coil, the juice, anything but him. "You know, you've been quiet," he said. "Tell me about yourself." The question felt like a trap. "Okay, ask me something." He just stared. An awful long silence stretched between us. "You want to go home, don't you?" "Yes." Fuck yes, I wanted to scream it. Instead, I just kind of shrugged, trying to seem casual. "Yeah, I guess. I'm getting tired." But he didn't start the car. He leaned in a little closer. "Where's your family from? What's your last name?" I told him. And that's when the floodgates opened. He went on this insane rant. How people from my background are all the same. How we think we're better than everyone. Then it spiraled. He started talking about the people who went to that synagogue across the street, how they secretly run everything. The banks, the media, the government. It was like a switch had been flipped. His voice got louder, faster. "You know Kanye was right," he said, pointing a finger at me. He was wearing Yeezys. Of course he was. He saw the truth. They want to silence anyone who sees it. My blood ran cold. I asked him if he'd ever actually met a Jewish person, had a real conversation with one. He let out a short, barking laugh. "Yeah, I work at a car dealership. They're the worst. Always trying to haggle you down to the last penny. Greedy." I felt frozen, trapped. This wasn't real. He then pulled out his phone, his face lit by the screen's glow, making his features look sharp and cruel. He scrolled to a picture of what he called ancient Israelite law. He held it up for me to see. He pointed a trembling finger at a line he'd highlighted. "See? Says right there. Consent is 3.5 years old. That's who these people are." I couldn't breathe. My whole body was buzzing with a single, frantic command. "Get out." "Okay, well," I said, my voice shaking slightly. I forced a small, tight smile. "I really have to go. Early day tomorrow." I had to make it seem normal, like this was a normal conversation to have on a first date. "We should do this again," he said, his eyes still wild. "Yeah, totally," I lied. "Maybe tomorrow, 4 p.m. You free?" My mind raced. "I think so. Let me check my schedule." I pulled out my phone, pretended to scroll through a calendar, and nodded. "Yeah, 4 works." "Text me when you get home safe," he said, and it was the most sinister thing I had ever heard. The moment he pulled up to my building, before the car had even fully stopped, I had the door open. I practically fell out onto the pavement. "Talk to you tomorrow," I yelled over my shoulder, and I ran. I didn't look back to see if he was watching. I fumbled with my keys, my hands shaking so bad I could barely get the key in the lock. The second I was inside, I slammed the deadbolt and chain. I ran to my window and peeked through the blinds. His car was still there, just sitting. For a full minute, he just sat there, and then, slowly, he drove away. I blocked his number. I blocked him on every app we'd ever connected on. I sat on my floor in the dark, shaking, replaying every weird smile, every swerve of the car, every hateful word he spit into the dark. The silence in my apartment didn't feel like screaming anymore. It felt safe. And I swear to God, Casimir, let's not ever meet again.